I am here in Coronado Springs. It's a beautiful evening, as you can see behind me. On today's show, we're going to take a look at a very unique CD player, something that we really haven't seen before, and it might be a cool product, and I'm really curious how it works and, sort of why it exists. So let's check it out. You're not going to want to miss this. Today it's all about the compact disc because we're looking at this, the MECHEN CD player H116 that comes in this handsome box, which is currently shrink wrapped. I love the packaging these days. So this looked like a bit of an interesting CD player, not your average CD player. So I'm curious what it's all about. Let's go ahead and take the shrink wrap off. Okay, easy enough. So yeah, the packaging is just really, really cool looking. And I know that that's a relatively unimportant thing in the scheme of things, but I think it's a first impression, right? So it's got the CD player, all this stuff on the back, made in China. Let's go ahead and open it up. I'm not sure how this box opens up. Okay, we've got a flap there. Looks like we've got a polystyrene shell. Interesting. Let's see if there's anything else in the box here. Looks like there may be 2 accessory packs, and now the box is empty. Let's see what's in this one. Accessory pack numero uno. A remote. Okay. White remote with real buttons. Rubber. And looks like it takes 2 AAA batteries. Nice. And I guess the product that I have is also white. All right, came right out of this. It just slid right out of the bag and it's ready to go. Okay, and then on this accessory box, we've got a 1/8 inch audio cable, and let me guess, USB-C, power cord, USB cord, and then the product itself. So, time for the big reveal. Very interesting way to pack this. Okay, and here's our user manual. Repeated in different languages, and the product face down in the packaging. And here is the device itself. So I think it's supposed to stand vertical like this. It's like a kind of a gunmetal gray plastic construction. It's got a bit of weight to it. And if we tilt it like this, we can see the door mechanism. And inside there is a black piece of cardstock protecting the mechanism, so it's a snap-on spindle load type, and that is shock mounted. And then there's this plastic, I'm trying to decide, is that magnetic? I think that's a magnetic closure. Yeah, you can see there's a little magnet there, so that's held tight that way. And then there's a little piece of foam protecting the knob, maybe a metal knob, maybe stepped, so it's a digital knob with button functionality. Looks like stereo speakers. And looking on top, there's nothing there. Looking on this side here, nothing. On the bottom, we've got foam pads. And then over here, we've actually got some transport controls. Looking on the back, possibly a vent or passive radiator. Then we got SD cards, so you can play your SD files off there. Either headphone jack or aux in, and then the USB charging jack in the back of the CD player. This is not unlike that one we reviewed that has all the colors and everything. So kind of cool. All right, so let's test it out. Maybe this is the screen. Maybe that's a display. Time will tell. Okay, so I've got some different CDs here and a DVD so we can listen to it. I think for the purposes of testing, I'm just going to lay it flat and we'll kind of look down from the top. Also dimming the lights a bit. So I've got the front mic on and the back mic on. Hopefully we can hear it clearly that way. So this door, it's clear plastic. I kind of wish that was like smoked or something. But yeah, it is what it is. To start with, I'm going to use my new Raglan Road CD. I got this from down in Disney Springs. It's an Irish pub. Very, very cool. And the music is tons of fun. So I was happy to find a place that actually still had a CD. You don't really see that anymore where there's like a a CD of a show you go to see. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and press the mode switch, press the play button. Maybe I press and hold this button. And I even looked at the manual. Okay, so it says hi. It's CD. Nice. I like the little chime. So it's going to start by reading that disc and playing it right off the bat. So hopefully we'll be able to hear it now. Let's skip through a few tracks.
Well, folks, we hope you've enjoyed listening, and thank you for spending some time with us. We do indeed have one more...
I guess I'm going backwards through it. It's got good sound quality.
And it's no name.
Surprisingly warm and rich sound. I like it. It resonates with bass. You can feel it sort of vibrate in your hands. Then on the side there we've got a counter. So if we skip through the tracks, it'll show you the track number and then it will start counting through it. Yeah, really cool. There's 11. So yeah, this is, I keep holding it upside down. That's why I'm going backwards. So if I keep going down, we'll eventually get down to track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all that good stuff. And it's not flickering to the naked eye. It looks like it's a white display there. It says CD. And if I hit mode switch, it'll go to Bluetooth mode, and that's definitely not strobing like it looks like it is. Oh, and there's a third mode. So TF card has, or SD card has its own mode. And line. Okay, so there's more modes than I gave it credit for. So it does have the line input mode. And then back to CD. Back to CD. Okay. So in terms of compatibility, there's a CD. So that's a regular stamped CD. Next, let's try a CD that is burned. So this is like a CDR. Should work just fine. And the reason why it's different is a CDR is basically dye that is manipulated versus physical lands and pits. So this should load up. And yes, it is going to buffer the audio into RAM.
The Mercury Theater on the air.
It's a low quality recording, but it works. See what it says over here. So it treats the display just the same. I wonder what happens if I open the door. Yeah, if I open the door during playback, just like the other one, it will, spin that disc down. So, yeah, so it's a bit of a different process with the dye. This is dirty too. This is an old CDR. I did this a long time ago. I love the Mercury Theater on the Air radio shows, but this is a CD format. It's not an MP3 disc. So I've also got some other old-time radio, the 6-shooter, and this is a CDR as well. So it's dye that is burned and manipulated versus physically pressed, but in this case it's an MP3 format disc, so you can fit a lot more on there. Spins it right up as soon as you close the door, which is a nice thing indeed. It says read right there. Give it a second to come up to speed. You can hear that mechanism moving around. Yeah, I don't think I liked it.
James
there we
Stewart
go. There we go.
as the 6-shooter.
Skipping through. It does seem like it's a bit more taxing to play these MP3 discs, which is interesting. Yeah. So, CDs, both pressed and burned, and MP3 discs as well. Now let's try a DVD. This is the Lost Stooges. I used to have this on VHS, and then I recently got the DVD of it. It's a bunch of stooge material that most people haven't seen before, so it's pretty rare material. Some of their stuff before they were, mainstream. So this is a DVD. Obviously, we'll just be listening to it, if anything. So let's hear what comes out of here. Also amazing how, fast or not, it spins it up and gets audio out. Because, a DVD, you've got a menu to deal with, so it's got to know to skip that. It says read, but I don't hear anything yet. It's been about 30 seconds. It Sounds like it's spinning down or like it's giving up, but I'm not sure. So maybe we're not having the best of luck with the DVDs. Which that feature would be like, you know, if it did that, it's not many CDs that will do that. The reason why you would want that is the audio from a DVD is higher resolution than a CD. But obviously it, you know, requires a player compatible with that format because it is a different format. That's interesting. That's actually a commercially sold disc. And even though it looks purple, that is pressed. Usually the way to tell a pressed disc from a burned one is the color. You know, silver is usually what a pressed disc would look like versus like this kind of greenish hue, or sometimes purple in the case of DVDs. Okay, let's go ahead and connect phone to Bluetooth. And let's see, it pops up here as H16, which is what it's called. At least in the manual, that's what it said to expect. All right, let's give it a test of sound.
Do my password begin with a 1 or a 2? How many roads to choose? Yeah, I like to hear some funky Dixieland. But I love you less today.
First things first, I'm the realest. Drop this and let the whole world feel it.
You know, it sounds good for what it is. I mean, you know, it's definitely small speakers. It sounds a bit boxy. It's definitely not going to replace any higher end speakers, but it makes it, you know, a standalone device. Strange form factor, but if you're very limited on space, I mean, look at this, like less than, I'd say under 2 inches of depth, and it's got speakers built in, amplifier, and it can be used in conjunction with other devices as well. Speaking of other devices, I want to use that aux input with a cassette. I've got this very cool tape here. This is Walkman music. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this. This is a Type 2 tape, Sony UX90. And we're going to go ahead and put it in the We Are Rewind, which I love this, by the way. That's a great little device. This particular unit will transmit Bluetooth, but I want to test that aux input on the back instead. So I'm going to use the included audio cable here. I'm going to plug it into the headphone jack. Anybody that says anything negative about these, I feel like hasn't really had one, because they are a fantastic modern cassette mechanism. By all means, get one. I also like the FIO. CP13, I think it is. And I think I like the FIO just a hair better. I think it's a little bit better on the headphone amplifier side, but both of them are great units. Okay, switching over here to line. That's a little better. Yeah, so yeah, aux input definitely works. Let's try the SD card slot on the back. Okay, I'm going to... This is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. I'm going to go ahead and insert an SD card the wrong way the first time. As per the usual, select Bluetooth, or excuse me, SD card. Okay. There we go.
Over the years, we've received a lot of mail from astute viewers that have noticed that both Tim and I are left-handed.
Some of that was my home improvement audio. I love listening to my favorite TV shows and movies that I own. For my own use, I make MP3 copies sometimes, and that was Home Improvement, one of my favorite shows. All right, just a quick reminder here. We've got the remote. I'm not seeing any capability set that wouldn't exist on the panel itself other than the numeric keypad. So you could hit 5 and it would go to track 5, etc., etc. But besides that, we've got like a mode selector switch, a TF switch, aux switch, a mute, unmute, things of that nature. So kind of odd that it's white, because I assumed when I saw this first that I was getting a white version. It would be nice if it was color matched. It makes it kind of seem cheap to just have a random off-colored remote, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, the device is fine. It does what it's supposed to do. I don't see any fault. The build quality seems fine. The sound quality is adequate. There's not really any way to connect it to an external sound system, which is odd. And the other unit that I keep referencing, I'm sure you remember, it's similar form factor, but it has a lot of colors and stuff. That had an output, so you could connect it to another sound system. This one, you're kind of stuck with these little speakers, which are adequate. I keep saying adequate. They're not bad. They've got some bass resonance to them. It's very listenable. This is a useful device. Strange form factor, but you know, if you're very space constrained, this might do the trick. It's cool. It's different. It's unique. That's why I wanted to get it on the show. But there you go. Little CD player. All right, my friends, and that is going to do it. I hope you enjoyed this show. Neat little CD player. I'll go ahead and put a link down below. By the way, it's like $49, something like that, and less than 50 bucks. So I think it's okay. I mean, the price isn't, you know, out of control. It's somewhat reasonable, somewhat practical. But anyway, my friends, that is going to do it for tonight. So happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.